meters and boiler pipes from freezing by insulating them with old clothes or other materials. The roads may be icy, so get winter supplies like snow chains and check your car in advance for antifreeze and other necessities. Frequently check for cold wave-related weather forecast through the TV, radio, and the internet. Please follow these guidelines so that we can have a warm and safe winter. This campaign is brought to you by BEFM, Busan 영어 방송.
The weather is so nice today. I'm sure this won't be a big deal.
A 3-second long lapse in judgment can burn up an entire mountain, which will take 100 years to recover. We can protect these lush forests if you follow these guidelines. First, do not bring flammable materials to the mountains. Second, do not cook or camp in the mountains. Third, do not litter cigarette butts. Your small actions are the first step towards protecting the beautiful forest. This campaign is brought to you by BEFM 부산 영어 방송.
아직 어렵게 느껴지는 영어. 아이들 영어는 어떻게 챙기시나요? 부산 영어 방송이 준비한 어린이 영어 콘텐츠 세상. BFM 키즈 영상 채널이 여러분을 찾아갑니다. 샘 해밍턴과 윌 벤저스 그리고 모모랜드 낸시가 함께하는 BFM 키즈에서 영어로 듣는 부산 설화와 전래동화, 재밌는 파닉스 영어, 신나는 K-팝 영어까지 만나보세요. 우리 아이의 영어 실력과 창의력을 쑥쑥 키워줄 특별한 어린이 영어 채널 BFM 키즈가 여러분을 기다립니다. 지금 바로 BFM 키즈를 검색하고 구독해주세요.
The time is now 7 o'clock.
One of the most awaited comebacks is almost here. And yes, I am talking about BTS. They're slated to return to the foray in March with the announcement of tour dates already creating a frenzy worldwide. And yes, they will be performing on stage in Busan. That's coming up later in June. But do you remember what happened back in 2022? When BTS staged a free concert in Busan to support the city's 2030 World Expo bid? Yes, some hotels charged 20, even 30 times their usual rates. This isn't just a trend for this particular group. It does happen periodically during major events when they're in town. Can anything be done? Well, let's find out. I'm Catherine. This is Morning Wave in Busan on Monday, January 19th on BEFM, 부산 영어 방송. Good morning, Wavers. I hope you had a good weekend and are ready to kick off our Monday morning together. So this issue of price gouging, this has become a problem. Once again, here in Busan, this time with hotels ahead of the BTS concert, the K-pop sensation announced a world tour this year, including 2 performances in Busan. We're talking June 12th and June 13th. And as we have reported on this from last week, some hotels and accommodations have posted exorbitant prices, double, triple, and up to 10 times for those 2 dates. Not only that, fans say that they have received cancellation notices for the lodgings that they have already booked. The thing with this particular instance is that usually during various concerts or festivals, such practices are at least limited to that particular neighborhood, area of the venue. But because the concert venue has yet to be determined, this has been happening all across the city. And the situation has gotten so bad that the president even commented on it. President Lee Jae-myung wrote on his social media that these malicious acts must be uprooted, calling them acts that ruin the market order and basically hurt everyone. Upon this, Busan City announced that it will form a joint inspection team with local governments to go around and give guidance to violators. And the city is also going to convene a tourism accommodation readiness meeting and discuss fundamental solutions to these excessive price hikes. But these price hikes, they happen a few times a year, whether it be for K-pop concerts or even the fireworks festival. And under current law, authorities cannot intervene and tell private businesses how much to charge. But these behaviors by some businesses will ultimately hurt the tourism industry at large. That is the fear, especially as the city is aiming to reach 5 million tourists in the next few years. And we'll cover more of this throughout our program. In the meantime, it is now time for a text topic. So are you ready for this? Can you use your vacation days or PTO for any reason at your workplace? PTO is either paid time off or personal time off. So do you feel comfortable using those days for any reason? 자, 우리 회사는 연차 휴가 자유롭게 쓸 수 있다? 아니다. Is the question that I'm posing to you. And if you want to remain anonymous, I will do that. Let me know and say, don't mention this. Or you can be very vague. Obviously, I don't know where you all work, right? So I'll try to be as vague as possible. So definitely want to know. Here at the station, at least for the freelancers, the producers, well ahead of time, they always ask like, so when do you think you might be using your vacation days? So they're usually like, very nice about it. They ask several like months, even sometimes. And sometimes my answer is, I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to use my vacation days or when. This year, I'm definitely going to take some days off. So let me know about your workplace. You can send them into BEFM's live stream, live chat on YouTube. Go to the YouTube platform and type in BEFM, Busan 영어 방송. To find our channel, you can log in and chat with other waivers. From your phone, pound 9050, shop 9050. That's going to cost you 100 won. You can also reach me for free on Kakao Talk. To find our account, same thing. You can type in BEFM or Busan 영어 방송 to find us, add us as a friend, and then you can send in your messages, photos as well. The ways you can tune into Morning Wave in Busan. First up on the radio, 90.5 or 103.3 FM. We are streaming live right now on YouTube. If you haven't checked us out that way, at least, today might be the day. You can also check us out on the BEFM app or the Papang app. Both are easy to download, free to use. Let's look ahead to our Monday morning together. All right, first we have Now in Busan. That's with Jian. Haley's coming in with top stories in hour number 2, Wagga Wagga Tea Time. We have Vasana coming in hour number 1 for Profile Check. Claire in hour number 2 for News in Depth. For a special interview, we are going to get an update on what's happening in Iran with the latest on the protests and anything that may have changed since the last time we talked about this story. That's in hour number 2. I'll be back with News Overview. It's now 7:06 and this is News Overview. Parties torn over special counsel bill, budget minister confirmation hearing. The Democratic Party, DP, and the People Power Party, PPP, are split over whether to hold the confirmation hearing for budget minister nominee Lee Hae-hun scheduled for today, as well as a dual special counsel bill. South Korea to consult with U.S. over semiconductor tariff. The government says it plans to consult with Washington to minimize the impact of a 25% U.S. chip tariff proclamation on South Korean firms. Ex-DP lawmaker Hong In-pyo named Presidential Political Affairs Secretary. Former Democratic Party lawmaker Hong In-pyo has been named President Lee Jae-myung's new Secretary for Political Affairs and will start his term tomorrow, according to 청와대. President Lee to meet with Italian Prime Minister. President Lee Jae-myung will hold a summit with Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni this morning to discuss bilateral cooperation and international issues. Iran warns attack on its supreme leader would be declaration of war. Iran's President Masoud Pezeshkian warned that any attack on the country's supreme leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, would be a declaration of a full-scale war. This was News Overview. It's time for Now Busan. Let's welcome Jian to the studio. Good morning.
Happy Monday.
Yay, is it? Yes, it is. Our text topic today, though, is about the workplace. So I know you're new to our, BFM, obviously, but in previous workplaces, were you able to use your vacation days or PTOs freely?
When I was in the military, I think it really depends on what kind of position where exactly you're at. As an interpreting officer, I wasn't really free to have my vacations because all my schedules were related to the leadership's schedule as well.
I see. Okay.
But as a freelancer, as a singer-songwriter now, people think that I can have vacations anytime I want, but it's a little complicated actually because you can't do music alone.
Yes, that's true.
So it's also related to other people's schedule as well.
So you got to kind of schedule around the schedules, right? Well, thanks for sharing. We're going to jump into our first story for now in Busan, and it is very much related to our main story today. Ahead of the BTS concert, Busan is addressing concerns over accommodation providers charging excessive prices. So it's become a national headline. We want to know what's being done.
Advance of the BTS concerts in Busan on June 12th and 13th, Busan City has decided to operate a QR-based reporting system to prevent unfair trade practices such as so-called rip-off pricing, 바가지요금. By scanning a QR code, visitors can file a report immediately, which is then forwarded to the relevant authority through the Korea Tourism Organization. The city has distributed promotional stickers and posters to accommodation providers as well and posted an informational banner on its official website.
Right. Well, let's talk about what happens to businesses that are reported.
Starting next week, the city will dispatch joint inspection teams to accommodation facilities reported online to conduct on-site checks and guide operators on compliance requirements. Even now, regular inspections are carried out, and unfair practices such as excessive charges or failure to honor reservation conditions are reflected in hotel rating evaluations. Beyond this, Busan City plans to hold inspection meetings involving related agencies to discuss fundamental measures to address excessive accommodation price hikes.
Right.
The city also said that once concert venues are confirmed, it will provide guidance on accommodation clusters with good access to concert halls and public transportation in an effort to ease concentrated booking demand.
That's right. And of course, we want to be welcoming of all the tourists, not just Army, but all tourists that come to Busan, and we don't want rip-offs.
Sure.
So thank you for covering this one. Let's move on and talk about the effects of the Ministry of Oceans and Fisheries relocating to Busan. Apparently, they're already showing. So what can you tell us?
Not only the relocation of the Ministry of Oceans and Fisheries, but also developments like the opening of Arctic shipping routes have contributed to a surge in competition for maritime and fisheries-related schools in the Busan area.
Right.
According to the Busan Metropolitan Office of Education, the National Busan Maritime High School, which trains ship officers, received 471 applications for the 2026 academic year. The Navy's Science and Technology Technology High School, which trains naval non-commissioned officers, also saw applications rise from 123 last year to 151 this year, continuing the upward trend.
Oh, very interesting. Has this trend affected universities as well?
Maritime and Fisheries departments at Busan universities have become increasingly competitive as well. At the Pugyang National University, the regular admissions competition ratio reached a record high of 7.19 to 1. Notably, the Department of Ocean Engineering had 73 applicants for 5 spots, and the Department of Bioengineering, which focuses on marine biology research and expertise, saw 69 applicants for 5 spots, highlighting the growth of maritime-related majors.
Right.
The National Korea Maritime and Ocean University also recorded an average competition ratio of 6.73 to 1 in regular admissions, marking the highest in 17 years.
Right.
Dongi University's Smart Port Logistics Department drew 53 applicants for just 2 spots, achieving an unprecedented 26.5 to 1 ratio.
Wow.
Admission experts interpret these trends as a direct reflection of the Busan relocation effect of the Ministry of Oceans and Fisheries.
Direct effect. We're seeing it already. So thanks for covering this story. We're going to move on and talk about Kumjeongsang, now designated as a national park. And it's undergoing various preparations for full-scale management. So what's the latest?
Since Kumjeongsang will be officially designated a national park on March 3rd, preparations have been accelerating. The Korea National Park Service recently announced that it has launched a project to create a mid to long-term management plan for the park. The Korean Society of Environmental Ecology has been tasked with preparing the plan, which is expected to be completed by June.
That's right. Well, last time I remember, Jian, you mentioned the mascot for Kumjeongsang National Park. Do we have any updates to this?
Yes, the review process to select a flagship species as the park's mascot will begin this month. The other 23 national parks in Korea have chosen flagship species that reflect their ecological, geographical, or cultural characteristics. The Park Service plans to select Kumjeongsang's flagship species from several candidates through public voting, including an online poll in early March to engage citizens and raise awareness.
Yes, and with Busan aiming to attract, once again, 5 million international tourists, will Kumjeongsang contribute to this goal, perhaps?
Absolutely. Many international tourists tend to visit national parks such as Bukhansan Mountain in Seoul and Seoraksan Mountain in Gangwon-do province. So local tourism experts are emphasizing the need to develop Kumjeongsang National Park as an ecotourism destination. A Korea National Park Service official explained that they are currently conducting a basic survey of facilities within Kumjeongsang National Park and discussing the transfer of facilities from Busan City.
So many things to look forward to with Kumjeongsang once again being designated fully as a national park come March 3rd. All right, lastly, let's talk about this. The program using AI to check on households at risk of dying alone is being expanded. What's the latest on this?
해운대구 district in Busan announced that it will expand the Smart Check in 365 program, which uses AI along with daily life data such as electricity, communication, and water usage to continuously monitor households at risk of dying alone. This program was introduced to address blind spots in the previous AI voice call system, which sometimes failed when households refused calls or did not respond.
Can you explain in further detail what this program entails?
The program analyzes patterns in daily life data, even without direct responses from the household, allowing early detection of unusual signs. If necessary, the program triggers on-site visits or connects the case to the local administrative welfare center.
Okay.
A 2-month pilot program last October, targeting 50 households at risk of isolation, confirmed its effectiveness with actual on-site interventions carried out. This year, the program will expand to cover over 100 households and operate year-round. AI check-in calls, daily life data analysis, integrated monitoring, and response services will all be run together to to provide a comprehensive data-driven care system.
And this is so important because we don't want anybody to be in this situation. Thank you for all the local updates, and we'll check in with you tomorrow. Thank you, Jian.
Thank you.
I'll be back with your traffic and weather. It is time for your traffic report. First up, there are a couple of accidents to report on. First up, an accident on Nakdongdaero from Deokcheon intersection to Gupo station direction. A collision between a bus and a car right past Deokcheon intersection. And there was an accident on the Dongso overpass going away from the city on Bomnekor ramp. It has been cleared, but there's still some backup. It's congested on Mandakdaero from Mandak Tunnel number 2 to Namhae Expressway, and is backed up on Byeonglo going away from the city right around the Bomnekor ramp. Currently, it is 7 degrees Celsius under partially cloudy skies. The daytime high will go up to 10 for another unseasonably warm day. Across the nation, cloudy with rain or snow forecast across the capital area, Gangwon, Chungcheong, Jeonbuk, and Gyeongbuk. Please be careful as roads may be icy. Strong gusts of wind forecast from the afternoon, so make sure everything is firmly secured. This was your traffic and weather. There's a theme going. This is Butter by BTS.
Butter, like a criminal undercover. Don't pop like trouble, breaking into your heart like that. Cool shade stunner, yeah, owe it all to my mother. Hot like summer, yeah, I'm making you sweat like that. Break it down. Ooh, when I look in the mirror, I'm not too hard to do. I got the superstar glow, so ooh, do the boogie line. A side step right left to my beat. I like the moon rock with me, baby. Know that I got the heat. Let me show you 'cause talk is cheap. Side step right left to my beat. Get it, let it roll. Smooth like butter. Pour you in like no other. Don't need no usher to remind me you got it bad. Ain't no other that could sweep you up like a rubber. Straight up, I gotcha, making you fall like that. Break it down. Ooh, when I look in the mirror, I'm at your heart into two. I got the superstar glow, so ooh, to the boogie line. Side step right left to my beat. I like the moon rock with me, baby. Know that I got that heat. Let me show you 'cause talk is cheap. A side step right left to my beat. Get it, let it roll. Get it, let it roll. Get it, let it roll.
Ice on my wrist, I'm the nice guy. Got the right body and the right mind. Rolling up the party, got the right vibes. Move like haters. Fresh boy, pull up and we lay low. All the players get moving with the bass low. Got army right behind us when we say so. Let's go.
Side step right left to my beat. I like the moon rock with me, baby. Know that I got the heat. Let me show you 'cause talk is cheap. Side step right left to my beat. Get it, let it roll.
Cool light, cool shade, and you know we don't stop. High light, ain't no. You been like, oh my god. We gon' make the rocket easy. We gon' make it bounce in his head. Hotter, sweeter, cooler, butter.
Get it, let it roll.
It's now time for top stories. We have Haley here. Good morning.
Good morning.
I hope you had a good weekend.
I did.
Good.
It was very active and then very inactive. We went the BFM Run Club. Everyone's invited.
Yes.
Woo-hoo. We went running at 6:30 in the morning.
On a Saturday?
On a Saturday.
So you guys meet twice a week now? Well, or is it just that
like,
week?
We try to meet once a month for like a not work day, a weekend thing.
I see.
And then for us too, with our tutoring work, it's later than the time we usually get here. So it's like we slept in.
Yes. Well, our text topic. Do you feel free to use your vacation days?
Vacation, yes. Like in terms of I will take my once a year, probably like 1 week long vacation. Here, definitely. But then I do need to coordinate with the other job.
Yes.
But then like the PTOs, well, as freelancers, so we have UTOs, unpaid time off.
Yes.
So knock on wood that we don't get sick.
Yes, of course. Well, we're going to jump into our first story. The court announced its first verdict on ex-president Yoon Suk-yeol, so let's get it.
Right. So former President Yoon Suk-yeol was sentenced to 5 years in prison on charges related to obstructing his arrest. That was from last January. So this is one of his 8 trials. The first one related to his various martial law imposition charges. So the Seoul Central District Court on Friday found Yoon guilty of obstruction of justice for trying to block authorities from arresting him.
Right.
So during this process, Yoon ordered for the head of his presidential security team to stop the execution of his arrest warrant, and then also ordered for the presidential security, the PSS, to delete phone records from military commanders' phones. Judge Baek Dae-hyun, the presiding judge on the case, stated that this was a privatization of the armed forces.
Well, there were also charges that stem from what happened on the actual night of martial law, right?
Right, so these were all dealt with together in this particular case. Ex-President Yoon was also found guilty of abuse of authority for only summoning certain cabinet members on the night of December 3rd before he declared martial law. The court also saw that Yoon's actions of forging this fake declaration decree and then destroying it, these were all guilty. The only not guilty verdict he received was on the exercise of such falsified public document, because the judge said that the presidential office never presented this document to anyone outside of the office. So according to the judge, he said, considering the need to restore the rule of law damaged by the defendant's crimes, a severe punishment that matches the guilt is necessary.
I see. How did Yoon's side and the special counsel respond to this verdict?
Right, so the former president's defense team said that the court did not make its decision based on facts, but simply accepted all of the special counsel's claims and ignored evidence. The special counsel, for its part, had requested 10 years in prison, and therefore it issued a statement saying that it will look at the partial non-guilty verdicts, hinting that this will likely be appealed by both sides.
But this is, once again, only the first trial out of many.
Right, so there are 7 more trials underway or currently under deliberation. So the core trial is the next verdict to come. That'll be announced, Yoon allegedly being a leader of the insurrection attempt. So this particular verdict will come out on February 19th at 3 p.m. The prosecution has requested the death penalty for former President Yoon. Other court cases range from 2 more martial law related cases. This is the aiding the enemy regarding North Korean drones and also a perjury trial.
Yes.
Others have to do with charges related to political broker Myung Tae-gyun and the death of Marine Corporal Che from the 2 other special counsels.
Yes.
So these are either ongoing or they have just begun. So they will actually take up most of the first half of the year, and trials are taking place almost on every weekdays.
That's right. Well, thank you for giving us the latest on this front. Up next, let's talk about this fire from a village in Gangnam.
Right, so this case goes back again to last Friday. A large fire broke out of Guryong village in Gangnam's Gaepodong. The fire broke out Friday early morning from an empty home.
Yes.
It prompted a level 2 fire response level because the authorities, they had struggled to get the main flame and had to mobilize some 1,200 personnel, including firefighters from 3 adjacent districts, as well as police and public servants.
Yes.
And there was actually quite a bit of a tense moment because the authorities were afraid that the fire may spread to a nearby mountain, Mount Guryong. No casualties, thankfully, were reported, but some 180 villagers have been evacuated.
That's right. And this is known as the last remaining, for lack of a better word, shanty town in the posh Gangnam area.
Right, because phrases like village and Gangnam don't often go hand in hand, and this
Right.
again being the final quote-unquote village or shanty town in Gangnam. So this area was actually created back in the 1980s when Seoul City was doing widespread development and cleanup ahead of the 1988 Seoul Olympics.
Right.
So a lot of people lost their homes as other shanty towns were being cleared away. So people who lost their homes in the process gathered in this particular village. And some of the houses were built without authorization. The homes were, because of the haphazard manner, built using a lot of flammable material, including cotton for insulation, vinyl, and slates, and that made the fire spread further.
Yes.
The close proximity of the homes next to each other and the narrow streets also make for any fire extinguishing efforts difficult. The village, however, is disappearing into the pages of history because the administrative procedures have wrapped up for redevelopment.
Ah, yes, indeed. Well, it's, of course, the best news is that there were no casualties. We're going to move on and talk about this story. Seoul City last year ran this pilot program that brought in Filipino domestic workers. So we need an update. Have they been treated well?
Right. So there was a bit of controversy from the beginning.
Yes.
They have not been treated fairly in terms of their pay, it seems at least. So these 100 Filipino workers were brought in to help basically Korean women continue their careers.
Yes.
But Professor Lee Mi-ae at the Jeju National University surveyed 21 workers in their 20s and 30s last year.
Okay.
Turns out in the first 6 months of the pilot program, these workers received an average of 1.92 million won per month, but that was before taxes. And after taxes, as well as the rent, insurance, and cell phone bills were taken out, they were left with an average of 1.18 million won.
Oh.
So the before tax wage was only about 51% of the average wages paid to South Korean workers.
Okay.
So in fact, the program was built to pay them lower than an average South Korean domestic worker or babysitter, whose hourly wage, so the Filipino workers got paid an hourly wage of 9,860 won, as opposed to an average of about 13 to 15,000 won for Korean domestic workers.
And it seems their work wasn't just limited to childcare.
Which is what it was supposed to be,
Yes.
but we're always afraid that it wouldn't be. So the professor said that the team received accounts that the workers are told to do cleaning, do the dishes, pet care, and even English education.
Yes.
So the professor said that the fundamental reason for this is because policymakers excluded the workers when they were coming up with the policy. The professor called for a reevaluation of the value of childcare and domestic work, which will create high-quality care and jobs that provide such services.
Yes, indeed. All right, we're going to move on for now. U.S. President Donald Trump's claims on Greenland are growing along with opposition from Europe.
Right, so tensions are growing, and President Donald Trump is wielding tariffs again, this time in this campaign to take over Greenland. So President Trump pledged to impose tariffs on European countries that stand with Greenland and Denmark against his plans to acquire the Arctic territory.
Okay.
So on Saturday local time, President Trump wrote on social media that he will be imposing a 10% tariff for Denmark, Finland, France, Germany, Norway, Sweden, the Netherlands, and the UK effective February 1st. He accused all 8 countries of playing a very dangerous game in opposing U.S. control over the territory. And he also warned that come June 1st, these 10% tariffs will rise to 25% and continue until an agreement is reached for the U.S. to buy Greenland.
Okay, that's one side. But opposition against this U.S. Greenland acquisition is growing.
Right, so a tit-for-tat tariff may be in order. The European leaders rejected Trump's announcement, and the leaders of these 8 countries issued a joint statement saying that the tariff threats undermine transatlantic relations and risk a dangerous downward spiral. The European Union, at the same time, they're also discussing retaliatory tariffs against American goods. French President Emmanuel Macron called on the other leaders to activate the EU's powerful anti-coercion instrument that's commonly called the Big Bazooka, and this is obviously not an actual weapon, but it would shut off access to the European market for U.S. companies.
Yes.
And actually, this opposition is not only from Europe, but also even domestically. A congressional delegation, U.S. congressional delegation, was dispatched to Greenland to show support for Greenland and also listen to the locals' opinions.
Yes.
This 11-member delegation also included Republicans who have expressed concerns about President Trump's comments.
And this may also affect fields outside of politics, right?
Namely the FIFA World Cup. So Germany's ruling coalition is reportedly considering boycotting the 2026 FIFA World Cup if President Trump decides to annex Greenland. So the World Cup will take place in June through July across 16 cities in the U.S., Canada, and Mexico.
Right.
But a spokesperson for the German Christian Democrats and the Christian Socialist Coalition said that no football festivities can take place at the same time as a purely unrealistic conflict. However, this would only be a last resort if President Trump sees to annex Greenland and not see reason.
Okay. Well, we'll keep tabs on this story. Thanks for all the top stories. We'll check in with you in hour number 2. Thank you, Haley.
See you in a bit.
It's time for our first song break. Second song break, excuse me. It is Sunday morning. I wish it were, but it's actually Monday. But by Maroon 5.
Unforgettable, you twist to fit the mold that I am in. But things just get so crazy, living life gets hard to do. And I would gladly hit the road, get up and go if I knew that someday it would lead me back to you. That someday it would lead me back to you. That maybe she is all I see. Come and rest your bones with me, driving slow on Sunday morning, and I never want to leave. Fingers trace your every outline. Oh yeah. Paint a picture with my hands. And back and forth we sway like branches in a storm. Change your weather, still together when it ends. That may be all I need. Darkness, she is all I see. Come and rest your bones with me, driving slow on Sunday morning, and I never want to leave.
It's time for a profile check. We have Vasana here. Good morning.
Good morning.
Wow, for those of you who are not on our NoTube, in this beautiful Kelly green hoodie. I love it. It's so pretty. Brightens up the room.
It's my son's.
Your son is getting so tall.
I'm getting hand-me-downs even. Never had hand-me-downs in my life because I am the oldest child. So I always give my clothes on, gave my clothes on, but now my son's giving me his clothes because he's getting bigger. He's a teenager now.
Yes,
oh my goodness.
And they're finicky.
Yes.
They discard.
No, he's big. So.
Yes.
I'm happy because I gave him always bought nice clothes for him, so now I'm getting all those nice clothes back.
It pays off. Hey, our text topic today is: can you use your vacation days or your PTOs freely? Any reason, or do you? Well, you're in education, so not really.
Yes, as many people know, we are in the tertiary sector.
Yes.
So we have quite a lot of vacations. But when I was in the private sector, in New Zealand, our vacation days were, for the first year, it was 10 working days. And then the following year, 10 days as well.
Sure.
But if you didn't use your vacation days, you could accumulate them and it would go to the next year.
Oh, they roll over?
Roll over.
Nice.
So next year, it would be 20 vacation days.
Nice.
And so on and so on. So I was working with somebody whose vacation days had gone up to 120 days. And so the manager said, please come into my office. You must take a vacation. He never took a vacation.
Wow. That's pretty amazing.
So I forced him to go on vacation.
Yeah, I know lots of workplaces where you know, after the fiscal year is over, you're done.
Yeah.
You can't, roll them over. So, okay, interesting.
That's in Korea. That's what happens. But in New Zealand, no. So, yeah.
Accumulation.
So in regards to freedom, if we took a vacation day, we weren't allowed to do it on a Monday or Friday.
I get it.
I'm guessing it's the same here. So, but anyway.
Yes. Well, we're going to jump into profile check. Where are we going today?
We are going to profile not a person first.
Oh.
We're going to profile a prize.
A prize?
A prize.
What kind of prize?
Congratulations. Yes.
What kind of prize are we talking about?
The Nobel Peace Prize, of course.
And you got to say it in that tone, right? The Nobel Peace Prize. Yes.
Yeah, Nobel Prize. I have to say the Peace Prize because there are different Nobel Prizes.
Of course.
And also we will be profiling a person, the most recent winner of the award, which is Maria Machado.
Yes.
But to understand the Nobel Peace Prize, we start with a man.
Named? Alfred
Nobel.
That's right. So who exactly was he? I mean, we've heard, the little history bits. Anything interesting?
No. So he was a Swedish inventor.
Yes.
And a businessman. And as everybody knows, he invented dynamite.
That's right.
So dynamite helps with many things, but the main two things at that time was mining and construction.
Sure.
But later it became connected to war and violence.
Right.
And later on in his life, Nobel became very focused on how he would be remembered. His legacy. Yep. Whoa! How do you say that in Korean?
Yes. Jinx.
Jinx in American.
Right.
So in 1895, Alfred Nobel signed his will in Paris and decided that most of his money should fund prizes for people who, in his words, brought the greatest benefit to humankind. Let me re-stress that. The greatest benefit to humankind. Remember that for our story later on.
Okay.
So that's the origin of the Nobel Prizes. There are 6 categories: physics, chemistry, medicine, literature, of which we know somebody from Korea won last year.
Of course.
Peace, and the newest edition was still old, but the newest one was economic sciences.
And so, Will, in Korean, what is that, like yuan or yuanjang, right?
Yeah, something you leave for your...
Right. It's
usually
basically a plan, a breakdown of what you want, your money, your property, where you want it to go after you pass.
Yes. Yes, and there's we could do another one on that with Michael Jordan and Shaq, where they're not leaving any money to their children. But anyway, so here's a special detail about the Peace Prize.
Okay.
The Peace Prize is awarded in Norway. not Sweden.
That's right.
So Alfred Nobel wrote it that way, but he didn't explain why. And I spent about 2 hours trying to search for why.
But there was no why?
There wasn't a why, but there were many speculations. But the strongest one was that Norway was strong in the 19th century in involvements in peace efforts.
I see.
Yeah. So that's the closest thing I did. I got to it. But
that
anyway,
makes sense.
So every year on December 10th, which is the day Nobel passed away, on his Memorial Day, the Nobel Peace Prize, Peace Prize is presented on December 10th in Oslo, Norway.
That's right. And so, what about the very first Nobel Peace Prize?
The very first one was given to Jean-Henri Dunant, who helped found the Red Cross movement. And the other was Frédéric Passé, a major early peace activist in Europe. So from day one, the Peace Prize was not about politics. It was about humanitarian work, helping people in crisis.
Yes. And so, by the way, in terms of why we're talking about this in the 뜬금없이 왜 Nobel Peace Prize?
Yes.
Because Maria Corina Machado, she's been in the news a lot in relation to what's been happening in Venezuela and the fact that, she got the Nobel Peace Prize, and there was a lot of hubbub because U.S. President Donald Trump, he did kind of put himself out there, and there were supporters of him as well that thought maybe he should have gotten the prize. And then, of course, she mentioned him in terms of, receiving the prize. So,
as a symbolic gesture.
Yeah, as a symbolic gesture.
Yep.
And hence why we're talking about this in the first place.
I'm sure everybody knows about it now. It's been all over the news.
But just in case.
Just in case.
Yes. And so over the years, the Peace Prize, it's gone to not just people, but organizations too, no?
Yes, correct. It's gone to organizations. As I said, I mentioned the Red Cross earlier, but it was to a person in the Red Cross. But it was also gone to the Red Cross, the UN Refugee Agency, and some well-known figures like Martin Luther King, Theodore Roosevelt, and also some controversial figures like Henry Kissinger, and controversial from the right wing, Barack Obama as well. So it's not just for one kind of person. It can be leaders, activists, or organizations.
Yes, indeed.
Yep.
Yes. So the Nobel Peace Prize really has become more like a symbol, right?
Yes, correct.
And it's iconic at this point, celebrating things like, peace agreements.
Yes.
All right.
Indeed.
And that takes us to the person that we're going to focus on. Once again, Maria Corina Machado.
Yes.
So who is she? Explain who she is.
So Machado was born in Caracas in 1967, educated in Venezuela.
Yes.
And had both a foot in the private sector and in civil work.
Yes.
So she helped found a foundation in the early 1990s that focused on supporting vulnerable children in Caracas.
Okay.
So very humanitarian. That's not the usual origin story for a figure of government.
Yes.
Later branded as enemy number one. So usually a humanitarian person doesn't get on that kind of radar. But she did.
Yes.
So that's basically who she was. People and duty first, and then politics and everything second.
So how did she enter politics?
She served as a member of Venezuela's National Assembly.
Okay.
She was an uncompromising critic of the previous president, Hugo Chavez. And then she carried that on to Nicolas
Maduro,
yeah.
right? And we know who he is.
Yes.
We all saw the images of him being literally plucked
Yes.
and
yes,
taken
yes, yes.
and, held
Indeed.
it. Yes.
And unlike many opposition figures who tried to survive by moderating their tone, she did not. And so she became enemy number one and a much bigger target, which brings us to where the stories converge
That's
of
right.
the Peace Prize and her. So she won the opposition primary in 2024, but she was barred from running in the presidential race. Barred. You
Yes.
can't do it.
Yes. And so when we talk about like opposition in Korean,
Yes.
we call it like 야당, the main opposition party.
Party, yeah.
Right. And then barred obviously means like banned.
Yes.
금지됐다.
Yeah.
So she was once again barred from the presidential race. And then what did she do?
Yes, this brings us to what you talked about before.
Yes.
January 15th, she met President Donald Trump and presented him with her Nobel Peace Prize
Right.
award, medal, as a symbolic gesture. There are two things regarding this action. We want to keep it a little factual and simple.
Yes.
Number one, she gave him the medal as a symbol.
Yes.
And number two, Nobel officials quickly clarified that a Nobel Peace Prize is not transferable, non-transferable.
Yes.
So even if you hand somebody the medal, it's not their medal.
Meaning,
Officially
they-
it's still hers.
It's still hers.
Yeah.
It's a symbol. It's symbolism.
Yeah.
양도할 수가 없어요. You cannot
Yeah.
simply give it to her,
Yeah.
so anybody else, just because you want to.
Yes.
Okay.
So I just so many things, but just carry on. So it is also reported that before the meeting, she suggested publicly she wanted to give it to Trump, and it was assumed because he might help her get back to Venezuela and to her rightful.
Because she is
things.
currently not in Venezuela.
No, she is not.
Because the former vice president
Yes.
is now the interim president.
So he was still part of Maduro's party, and Maduro's party is still in power. So
That's right.
nothing's changed so far.
And so to go back to how she actually is faring right now, she went into hiding.
Yes.
And it was pretty dramatic though.
Yeah.
Because I remember like we reported on this, like even when they were
okay.
announcing that she had won the Nobel Prize, it was like, where
Where
in
is
the
she?
world is she? Like, we don't know. We didn't know. And it was for security purposes.
Yes.
It was like that on purpose
Yeah.
to ensure her safety, to make sure nothing bad would happen to her.
Yes, and everybody knew that she would have to come out of hiding because they knew where she would be.
Yes.
Obviously, the Nobel Peace Prize ceremony. And they were wondering, where is she now? They thought she might be still in Venezuela. But no, she was plucked out of Venezuela. There's another person plucked out of Venezuela.
Yes.
We don't know who by. The details are still, you covered it
Right.
a few weeks ago. But she escaped Venezuela and went and accepted her prize in person.
Yes. So obviously now she's out of hiding
Yep.
and very active in meeting world leaders and whatnot, including once again U.S. President Donald Trump.
Yep.
So if we were to kind of sum things up, what did we learn today?
We learned a few things.
Yes. What did we learn?
We learned about Alfred Nobel and that his original intention of the Peace Prize was to give to humanitarian people.
Yes.
And it's awarded in Oslo every year.
Sure.
And we also learned that the Peace Prize or whatever prize, or any prizes that you get, not just the Peace Prize, if you get first in a 100-meter race, you can't say, that person won and give it to him. It's just a symbol when you give your prize to somebody else.
That's right.
Yeah.
So very interesting, covering the Nobel Prize and in particular the Nobel Peace Prize, and also focusing in on the latest recipient of this. And it's very telling of the times that we live in.
Yep.
So thank you so much for this week's profile check. And of course, we'll check in with you next week.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Everybody, this was Vasana. And let's turn to some of your responses to our text topic today. Today, we have been talking about whether you can use your vacation days or PTOs, paid time off. Some people call them, personal time off as well. Looking at your responses, I guess it really does matter where you are and which industry you work in. For example, Umberto. Hi, Umberto. It's been a while. A question of the day. He says, yes, no request needed. Just a heads up to my team. And for those of you who are wondering, what's a heads up? Meaning just like a nice, I don't want to say warning, but just let people know in your office, like, hey, I'm going to be out of the office for the day. I'm going to be taking a PTO. So to give them notice, to let them know is what a heads up means. And Kusu says this. 연차와 휴가 자유롭게 쓸 수 있답니다. 사랑하는 여자친구와 아내와 같이 써야 쓸 수 있어요. Oh, so he can only use his days off with his girlfriend and his wife. And for those of you who are new, his girlfriend is his little girl, his daughter. It's just an affectionate little nickname, so I don't want you to misunderstand. He is not that kind of person. And so he, wherever he goes or whatever days he takes off, they're dictated by the two lovely women in his life. As for me, in the education sector, anytime I have to take a day off because I'm really, really sick, that means, yes, 보강. I hate 보강 because that means I gotta, go through my schedule and schedule it with my students and that department and then come up with a makeup class. Yes, Vasana.
Don't you have online possibilities?
My school does not allow online anymore. They're really strict with that. So they want in-person classes. So hence, I cannot get sick. All right. Thank you for tuning in to hour number 1. We're going to end it with this one. Try Everything by Shakira. Enjoy. I'll be back at 8.
I messed up tonight. I lost another fight. Lost to myself, but I'll just start again. I keep falling down. I keep on hitting the ground, but I always get up now to see what's next. Birds don't just fly, they fall down and get up. Nobody learns without getting it wrong. I won't give up, no, I won't give in till I reach the end, and then I'll start again. No, I won't leave. I wanna try everything. I wanna try even though I could fail. I won't give up, no, I won't give in till I reach the end, and then I'll start again. No, I won't leave. I wanna try everything. I wanna try even though I could fail. Try everything. Try everything. Try everything. Look how far you've come. You filled your heart with love. Baby, you've done enough. Take a deep breath. Don't beat yourself up. No need to run so fast. Sometimes we come last, but we did our best. I won't give up, no, I won't give in till I reach the end, and then I'll start again. No, I won't leave. I wanna try everything. I wanna try even though I could fail. I won't give up, no, I won't give in till I reach the end, and then I'll start again. No, I won't leave. I wanna try everything. I wanna try even though I could fail. I'll keep on making those new mistakes. I'll keep on making them every day. Those new mistakes. Try everything.
열성 여기가 인생마청 불타는 마청 열받은 상경 불박 열성 창문이 1588-9376
아팠던 분들에게 보험 가입의 기준 너무 높죠? 하지만 간편 건강보험이라면 어떨까요? 고혈압, 당뇨, 디스크가 있어도 몇 가지 질문만으로 간편하게 가입 가능! 유병자 걱정 덜어주는 현대해상 간편 건강보험. 심사 기준에 따라 가입이 제한될 수 있으니 유의사항을 확인하세요.
혹시 지금 운전 중이신가요? 어린이 교통사고 피해자 수는 지난 3년 평균 약 9만 명. 특히 어린이 보호구역 안전 기준이 강화된 이후에도 어린이 보호구역 내 사고는 지속적으로 발생하고 있습니다. 스쿨존에서는 반드시 시속 30km 이하 서행, 스쿨존 내 불법 주정차 금지, 차량 출발 전 앞뒤 좌우 살피는 습관으로 어린이가 안전한 도시를 만듭니다. 참, 운전 중 휴대전화 사용은 모두에게 위험합니다. 우리 모두를 위한 교통안전, 나부터 실천하면 모두가 안전해집니다. 어린이가 안전하게 뛰어놀 수 있는 부산. 아이 키우기 좋은 도시는 우리 모두의 미래이자 희망입니다. 이 캠페인은 어린이가 안전한 부산을 만드는 은행, B&K 부산은행과 함께합니다.
I was so busy this morning. I didn't even get to check my messages. I almost got hit.
Here comes the safety hero. Stop right there, Smombi. Put your phone away. Keep your head up. Look around.
What was I doing? Thank you. I'm finally free from being a smombie.
As you just heard, even a quick text could lead to a serious accident. This kind of behavior has a name, Smombi, a word created by combining smartphone and zombie.
Walk with your head up and check your surroundings before you move. Let's build a safer traffic culture and keep our streets free from smombies. This campaign is brought to you by BEFM 부산 영어 방송.
김밥가게 박 사장님도 문구점 김 사장님도 우리 부산의 경제를 움직이는 사람들. 우리 동네 작은 가게로 향하는 발걸음이 우리 부산의 경제를 키워가는 한 걸음입니다. 부산 방송광고 발전 협의회.
The time is now 8 o'clock.
Welcome back, Wavers. This is Spotlight News. Parties torn over special counsel bill and budget minister confirmation hearing. The Democratic Party, or DP, and the People Power Party, PPP, are split over whether to hold the confirmation hearing for budget minister nominee Lee Hae-hoon scheduled for today, as well as a dual special counsel bill. The PPP has been demanding a joint special counsel investigation into the Unification Church's political fund scandal and bribery allegations involving election nominations, with the DP only agreeing to a Unification Church special counsel. The PPP says that the budget minister nominee has failed to submit the necessary documents for the confirmation hearing, whereas the DP argues that the hearing should be held as previously agreed upon. South Korea to consult with U.S. over semiconductor tariff. The government said it plans to consult with Washington to minimize the impact of a 25% U.S. chip tariff proclamation on South Korean firms. Cheongwon cited a bilateral principle that South Korea should receive treatment no less favorable than that applied to other major countries. President Donald Trump recently signed the tariff proclamation for chips that are imported to the U.S. and then re-exported to other countries. The White House has also said that Trump may impose broader tariffs on imports of semiconductors and their derivative products. Ex-DP lawmaker Hong Ik-pyo named Presidential Political Affairs Secretary. Former Democratic Party lawmaker Hong Ik-pyo has been named President Lee Jae-myung's new Secretary for Political Affairs and will start his term tomorrow, according to Cheongwade. Hong, a three-term lawmaker, previously served as the DP's floor leader. Hong is known for politics of tolerance and cooperation, said the presidential office. The appointment comes as his predecessor, Woo Sang-ho, resigned in an apparent bid to run for Gangwon provincial governor in the upcoming local elections, as interest grows over whether other senior aides will resign in order to run for office. President Yi to meet with Italian Prime Minister. President Lee Jae-myung will hold a summit with Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni this morning to discuss bilateral cooperation and international issues. Cheongwade said that the two leaders would discuss a wide range of issues, including trade, AI, and space, as well as cooperation in science, culture, and education. Meloni arrived in Seoul yesterday and visited the Seoul National Cemetery to honor the soldiers who died during the Korean War. Iran warns attack on its supreme leader would be declaration of war. Iran's President Masoud Pezeshkian warned that any attack on the country's supreme leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, would be a declaration of a full-scale war. This was an apparent response to speculation that U.S. President Donald Trump is considering an attempt to remove Khamenei. The Iranian president also blamed the U.S. for the protests in his country. Trump, in an interview on Saturday local time, called for an end to the Supreme Leader's nearly 40-year regime, calling him a sick man who should stop killing people. And this was Spotlight News. It's time for our special interview. Since late December of last year, thousands of Iranians have taken to the streets amid severe economic hardships, including soaring inflation and the sharp devaluation of the national currency. The protests have been met with a harsh crackdown by Iranian authorities. Iranian leaders have described demonstrators as rioters and accused foreign powers of fueling the unrest. Human rights groups report a death toll in the thousands, while officials acknowledge casualties among security forces as well. The true scale of the violence remains difficult to verify due to communication blackouts and restricted access to the internet. Today, we want to analyze the current situation and consider its political implications moving forward. Joining us today is Professor Sahar Razavi, Associate Professor in the Department of Political Science and Director of the Iranian and Middle Eastern Studies Center at California State University, Sacramento. Hi, thanks for joining us today.
Hi, thank you very much for having me.
Yes, indeed. Professor, to start, how do you see the situation in Iran right now compared to where things were just a few weeks ago?
The protests have quieted down significantly, largely as a result of the harshness of the crackdown. I myself have either spoken with directly or heard from loved ones who have described the air being heavy with grief, the streets having the smell of blood in them. I mean, it's a very heavy situation right now and a very serious situation for the residents of the major cities.
I'm sure. And when you look at how the government has been responding with these harsh crackdowns, what stands out to you the most?
I think we expected that there would be a harsh crackdown because that is basically the tried and true tool of this regime for the past 47 years. But I think that the scale of the violence this time has been unprecedented. There has been a lot of arson and vandalism on the one hand, and that is typically not seen in protests. And the scale of the violence against demonstrators is also typically not seen to this extent. This is an escalation and an intensity that we just are not used to seeing on either side.
I see. With Iranian officials framing this unrest as foreign-driven, first of all, your thoughts on these types of comments, and politically speaking, how effective is this narrative?
Well, I think this is a very good question. My thoughts on this narrative as a whole are that it is in the interest of the regime to downplay or dismiss these demonstrations as foreign-driven. This is a very well-worn tool that regimes across the region and even around the world have used in order to delegitimize protesters' legitimate demands and grievances. On the other hand, I think it would be a mistake and it would be naive for us to believe that 100% of the protesters and 100% of the demonstrations were purely Iranian, and it would be really a mistake on the part of the United States and Israel, both who have, the governments of both countries have expressed very clearly that they have interest and even involvement on the ground in these protests, and it would be against their own interests not to be involved. So I would expect that probably what's happening is that the movement itself, the uprising, is organic. It is organic to the extent that it is driven in bulk by Iranians' anger, frustration, and sense of helplessness and hopelessness against the gross mismanagement of the economy by the government, but also external pressures like the sanctions. But again, I think it would be a mistake for us to think there has been absolutely no involvement at all from outside powers either. It's just unfortunate because not only because of the loss of life, but because it endangers protesters pretty directly when outside powers openly state their intentions to be involved on the ground. It gives the regime the excuse it needs to carry out such a brutal and harsh crackdown.
I see. And when we talk about the gross mismanagement of the economy, basically, in Iran, is that the main driving factor? Are there other factors at play as to why the protesters are basically fed up and they're taking this type of action?
This time, the spark was the economy, and just as you mentioned, the sharp drop in the value of the Iranian currency, the rial, against the dollar, was that was a spark that precipitated the protests initially. But I think that this is a pattern that we've seen in protest after protest for at least the last 2 decades, that something sparks it, and then that goes very quickly into demands for a total transformation of the system. So I think it's not only the economy that is driving these protests, it's also decades of the suppression of civil society and a very regressive kind of political atmosphere in which people feel like their choices are extremely constrained and they are forced to make decisions between bad and worse, essentially.
Yes, and the U.S., and namely U.S. President Donald Trump, very vocal about what's been happening in Iran. How does that factor into how Iran's leadership may be reading the international environment right now?
I think it factors very heavily. What happened in Venezuela with Maduro very recently is, I believe, a very serious concern for Iranian leadership. I think because the regional alliances have also shifted in the past few years to the extent that Iran's government feels exposed or vulnerable with the fall of the Assad regime in Syria, with Russia, where it gets military equipment and supplies being stretched and bogged down in Ukraine, with the severe weakening of its regional allies, Hamas and Hezbollah. It feels exposed. And so I think that in part also explains some of the intensity of the crackdown.
Yes.
But it also was not inevitable that it would happen this way. There were other options as well.
I see. And looking at, the reports, what we've been hearing, that there have been, internet shutdowns, limits on access to phones, etc. How are people managing to still stay connected and share and get information out?
It is extremely difficult. the communications blackout was total. At first, there was absolutely no internet, no phone calls, even domestic calls from one person in Iran to another person in Iran were also blocked for a time. And then as the government started to feel that it had ever so slightly more control over the situation, then they eased restrictions just a tiny bit. So now very brief phone calls have been able to go outbound from Iran for loved ones to tell their families that they are okay or that they're not okay, as the case may be. And now they are able to speak with each other domestically as well. And then just very, very brief little blips and bloops of internet have been accessible either by Starlink or just random chance for people to get out text messages to their loved ones. But the only people who consistently have internet access right now are those who the government has given access to in order to be able to publish news reports.
I see. And if we had to do a comparison a few years back with the Mahsa Amini protests, is it a completely different feel as to the scale of the protests? What do you think, Professor?
I think that the major differences are the intensity on both sides of the uprising and the crackdown. Mosques and holy sites like shrines have been burned down. Police have been set on fire in the city of Isfahan. There were beheadings of police. I mean, that's something we just have not seen in previous demonstrations and uprisings. And at the same time, we have not seen this harshness, as I said, of the crackdown. It has always been harsh, but this is just unprecedented in terms of its brutality. So I think there is serious concern, of course, but there's also continuity, right? There's continuity between each protest movement because the grievances that are driving these uprisings are linked. The Mahsa Amini protest began with this spark of the killing in police custody of this young woman, Mahsa Jina Amini. And then it turned into calls for a wide-scale transformation or overturning of the system. Before that, it was a hike in fuel prices. Before that, it was where is my vote, right, in the Green Movement of 2009. Before, I mean, wave after wave comes, and it's because people are asking for basic civil rights that they feel they have not been accorded. So to the extent that the demands are linked and they have not been met fully, I think there is continuity, but there is also a shift this time that we're seeing that we are all analysts and observers are trying to make sense of.
Yes, and real quick as a wrap-up question, you mentioned that from the get-go, Professor, that largely the protests have died down significantly. So what do you think are the biggest challenges right now? Do you think that these protests, that this movement will continue, or that the government has succeeded in quelling the unrest?
I think right now, the government has succeeded in quelling the acute phase of unrest. It has brought in forces like it has Shia militias from around the region, the Fatimiyun, the Hosseinian brigades. It has brought in forces from its allies, but I think that doesn't necessarily mean that the protest is over. It also the street demonstrations phase may be over, but just as we saw with the Mahsa Amini protests and the waves before that, just because there isn't an immediate overturning in that moment does not mean that damage is not done to the overall governing structures or the grip that the government has on society.
I see. Well, thank you so much for giving us the latest of what's happening in Iran and the protests there. And of course, hoping for the best. Thank you, Professor.
Thank you very much for covering the story.
Once again, this was our special interview, an explanation into the latest of what's happening on the ground, as far as we can tell, as there is still limited information coming out of Iran. And I'll be back with your traffic and weather.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning입니다.
Good morning.
좋은 아침입니다.
Morning wave in Busan.
Morning wave in Busan.
Morning wave in Busan.
Major news, local buzz, and expert takes. It's all here on Morning Wave in Busan. Brighten up your morning commute with Morning Wave in Busan.
Morning wave in Busan.
It's time for your updated traffic report. First up, a 3-car collision on Suyeong Gangbyeondae from Banyo overpass to the Seonsuchon intersection. Right past the overpass is where this accident is. And there's another accident past Daecheon ramp going toward the Haeundae Tunnel. It is backed up on Chungjangdae from pier number 5 to pier number 3. It's also congested from Puam overpass to Jinyang intersection. It's currently 8 and it's going to go up to 10 under partially cloudy skies. So it's another warm one. Across the nation, though, cloudy with rain or snow forecast across the capital area, Gangwon, Chungcheong, Jeonbuk, and Gyeongbuk. Please be careful as in these areas the roads may be icy. Strong gusts of wind are forecast from the afternoon on, so make sure everything is firmly fixed or tied down. This was your traffic and weather. It's time for Wagga Wagga Tea Time. Haley's back.
Hello again.
Yes. Well, I wish we could be all smiles for our first story, but yeah, no. Let's talk about this concerning study over deepfake that may show a skewed sense of gendered violence in the country.
Right. So 2 out of 10 male university students who have made deepfake contents, they did so to satisfy their sexual desires or to bully others. So this is according to a report by the Korean Women's Development Institute. This was specifically on deepfake-based sexual crimes in universities. So here the team surveyed 1,500 people, half male students, half female students across the universities nationwide. Here, 14.5% responded they have used deepfake technology to make photos or videos, not necessarily of sexual nature. Keep in mind, because the biggest reason was for school assignments or for personal reasons to make memes or jokes.
Okay. However, not an insignificant number use them for sexual purposes.
Yeah, so for male students, 12.2% said they did so for sexual reasons. 8.4% to hurt or bully the other person. And this, by the way, is double the rate for women who responded to the same questions.
Okay.
And this may have to do with their perceptions or awareness of deepfake sexual crimes.
Oh, was there that big of a difference between female and male students? We need further details on
right,
this.
because we've seen that was such a major buzzword last year, specifically in middle and even high schools.
Right.
But 72% of female students said they were aware of deepfake-based sexual crimes. However, that rate dropped by almost 20 points to 53% for male students. So only about half were aware of deepfakes being used for sexual crimes. So, and then another question was, if or when a deepfake sexual crime happened on campus, how would you feel about it? 31% of female students responded they would feel or they felt fear and anxiety. 56% anger and shock. That rate dropped to under 10% for male students in terms of feeling fear and anxiety, and then 36% for anger and shock. And then 43% nearly of male students said that they found these instances surprising, but that it didn't affect them directly, which might go to show why there was such a low rate of fear or anxiety.
I see.
And then the research team said that this goes to speak about the very gendered nature of such crimes because 96.6% of deepfake crime victims were women. And this genderization of victims led to a genderization of awareness.
Okay.
In fact, there was even victim blaming in this case as well, where 13% of male students surveyed said that at least a part of the blame of these crimes laid with people who didn't, quote, take proper care of their pictures, aka the victims, which in many cases, they're just their social media profile pictures.
Wow.
Right.
I think that speaks volumes about what some people are thinking. Okay.
Right.
Moving on, we previously reported on the story concerning actress Nana and self-defense. So I hear you have updates.
I do. So a very quick update. Singer and actress Nana's home was previously broken into. The assailant was allegedly strangling Nana's mother at the time when she had to fight him off and he sustained some injuries. This robber filed a complaint against Nana for assault, and this incited the whole discussion about self-defense. It was her home that was being broken into. So the police initially, they deemed it was self-defense, but they had to reopen this entire investigation because of the complaint. After questioning her and looking into evidence, finally ruled that her actions again, indeed, constitute self-defense and will not be pressing charges against her.
Oh, thank goodness. Okay. That's one good story.
So that's
out of the way.
Full stop
Yes.
end to that story.
All right. Well, it is graduation season and also awards season for some students. So back in the day, like I hear in Korea, it was like everybody got this award called like Kegunsang, Perfect Attendance Award. Very popular or common. Nowadays, not so much. Were you one of these Kegunsang awardees?
Of course I was. Because, I mean, it was a virtue, right? It was a reflection of your work ethic to go to school every day and be sick at school. 아플 거면 학교에 가서 아파라 was what we were told, right? But that 개근상, the perfect attendance, might be a relic of this bygone era. Again, the era of go die at school if you must. You know, So some parents who have attended their children's graduation season is now, they noted how only a handful of students per class received a perfect attendance award.
Yes.
If they were given out at all. And teachers are saying that it's probably just about 10% of the entire student body that receives the perfect attendance award.
Really? So why the sudden shift?
Well, big cultural changes and COVID played a major role because being sick at school is no longer a marker of your work ethic, but you could be Typhoid Mary. You could
Mary.
I jest, but you could be posing a public health risk. So also kind of a sad look into how public education is being received, especially as you get older. Because high school students, they say that for some, maybe many, your private academy classes take priority over public school. And some students won't even show up to their school after the final CSAT mock test.
Yes.
Yeah.
And how do experts view this in a larger scope of education and basically just work ethics?
Right. It is quite symbolic of how we as society view work ethic and education. Because in the past, Korean society saw education on equal footing as labor. That was your occupation as a student to work hard. That was your job. But now, good news, we do have a greater respect for personal health, well-being, and rest.
Yes.
And, some do recognize that having perfect attendance, at least a little bit of that is luck. But some experts do say that perfect attendance award is a reflection of a person's work ethic, consistency, and diligence, and also responsibility over their school life.
On an
I want thoughts on this.
See, elementary school kids these days, because I hear from my niece and nephew, they say like among their friends at their schools, they say like, oh, if you have perfect attendance, that means like, one, you've never been abroad, or like it's kind of the opposite almost. They make fun of you.
I purposefully left that part. I recognize that, but I also don't want to spread that rhetoric because I also refuse to say that word, the kegun sum. And I won't.
Yes.
I won't dirty our airwaves with that. But back in when I went to school in the States, our middle school had 100% club. So it was less about your attendance, but if you turned in 100% of your assignments, you were awarded. So that could be. That's something.
Good.
Yeah.
Rewarding good behavior. All right, moving on. We have yet another one, a Tu Jong-ku story, but this is from a health and nutrition perspective.
Right. So what is the healthy recommended serving for the Dubai Chewy cookie?
I don't know.
Let's say, the one that we usually see like the size of the ball, the small fist,
Small
like
ball.
a baby's fist.
Yes.
A quarter.
A quarter of that.
4분의 1만 드시랍니다. 먹으랍니다. So this is according to the Korea University Kuro Hospital because the Dubai Chewy cookie has a high concentration of simple sugar, 단순당, right? And saturated fat, 포화지방. So karaif is basically fried dough, which is why it's good, but which is why it's also bad for you.
Yes.
Refined carbs plus the pistachio cream, fat,
marshmallows, and chocolate, sugar. So that combination, fatal for your blood sugar.
Oh, yeah.
Rapid spikes. And then add to that, the fat actually slows down the digestive process. So your blood sugar spike lingers at that level.
Okay.
Yeah, so essentially, it is demanding overtime for your insulin production, and it can also lead to risks of cardiovascular issues.
Yes. And if you're worried about your 혈당 spike, our Tweety Bird producer says,
Don't eat it. Yeah. Experts too, actually.
Yes. I'm also afraid to know how many calories. I've heard, I want to know like the real nutritional value. How many calories does 두쫑구 have?
Depending on the size, but
Okay.
anywhere between 400 minimum to 600 calories.
That's like a meal.
That's actually 2 meals, 2 bowls of rice. yeah.
밥이랑 반찬 먹으면 one meal.
알겠습니다. But because a lot of people are not eating this as a meal, it's dessert.
Right.
So think of that after the meal. Because we also don't want to be calorie counting, and that vastly depends on whether you are on a weight loss, calorie deficit journey / how active you are. But again, we are concerned about insulin. After a meal, your insulin is already working hard. Your levels are higher. So that can actually lead to faster weight gain. Again, expert recommended portion, cut that in half. And then cut that in half. So it's a bite. It's a lovely little bite.
그냥 먹지 마.
그냥 하나 사서 가족끼리 나눠 드세요.
Yes. Apparently there are now scams regarding this.
Right, and this is concerning the businesses, cafe owners and bakery owners. This is with suppliers who scam cafes and businesses with ingredients.
Okay.
Because the Karaif pastries and pistachios, they've basically been wiped out from the market.
Okay.
So on social media, there are business owners who they're getting messages from these supposed Dubai Chewy cookie ingredient suppliers saying, hey, we have the Karaif pastries or pistachios and we can supply them, ship them the next day. Also, always a red flag, strangely low prices.
Red flag.
So some businesses say, I thought that was kind of sketchy, and this was so smart. Ask for the business card and proof of business certificates. And then you can look up the business registration number. Turns out that particular vendor, not even a food supplier, was an office supplies supplier. And the business had shut down in 2023. So scam bells ringing.
Yes.
According to those in the industries, there are barely any pistachios left in the market. And if you do happen to be able to get your hands on them, you're going to be paying about 12만 원, 120,000 won per kilo of pistachios. 1 kilogram.
Wow.
Yeah.
So some cafes and bakeries are looking for alternatives.
Right. So somen, like the noodles or vermicelli noodles that are broken up, can give a similar texture, but of course it's not the same.
Right.
And some customers feel cheated when bakeries offer these alternatives, but don't lower prices. Actually, one law firm weighed in on this on social media, saying that there's a chance that these noodle-based Dubai Chewy cookies could constitute a scam, or at least a violation on the rule on posting the food origins, especially if they didn't notify customers first.
Right. Like if you have a sign that says, hey, we're using somen instead.
Right.
I wonder how many, would be sold.
Exactly.
Yes. Well, anyhow, thank you. Well, let's have our quarter.
Let's go buy one and split it amongst the three of us.
주둥님 says, quarter cost 1,500원.
There we go.
We'll split up the cost. Well, thank you. We'll check in with you tomorrow, Haley.
Have a great day.
All right. Let's get to our next song. This is Marry You by Bruno Mars.
It's a beautiful night. We're looking for something dumb to do. Hey, baby, I think I wanna marry you. Is it the look in your eyes, or is it this dancing juice? Who cares, baby? I think I wanna marry you. Well, I know this little chapel on the boulevard we can go. No one will know. Oh, come on, girl. Who cares if we're trash? Got a pocket full of cash we can blow. Shots of Patrol. song, girl. Don't say no, 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 no. Just say yeah, 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 yeah. And we'll go, 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 go. If you're ready, like I'm ready. 'Cause it's a beautiful night. We're looking for something dumb to do. Hey, baby, I think I wanna marry you. Is it the look in your eyes, or is it this dancing juice? Who cares, baby? I think I wanna marry you. Oh, I'll go get a ring, let the choir bells sing like ooh. So what you wanna do? Let's just run, girl. If we wake up and you wanna break up, that's cool. No, I won't blame you. It was fun, girl. Don't say no, 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 no. Just say yeah, 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 yeah. And we'll go, 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 go. If you're ready, like I'm ready. 'Cause it's a beautiful night. We're looking for something dumb to do. Hey, baby, I think I wanna marry you. Is it the look in your eyes, or is it this dancing juice? Who cares, baby? I think I wanna marry you. Just say I do. Tell me right now, baby. Tell me right now, baby. Baby, just say I do. Tell me right now, baby. Tell me right now, baby. Baby, oh, it's a beautiful night. We're looking for something dumb to do. Hey, baby, I think I wanna marry you. Is it the look in your eyes, or is it this dancing juice? Who cares, baby? I think I wanna marry you.
It's time for News in Depth. We have our newscaster, Claire, in the studio. Good morning.
Good morning.
Yes. Hey, let's dive into our first bit of news because there was a lot that happened. Over the weekend, the presidential office addressed growing concerns over U.S. semiconductor tariff. So what exactly triggered this response?
So yesterday, January 18th, 청와대 commented on signs that the United States may expand the scope of its semiconductor tariff measures. The timing is important because it followed a proclamation signed on January 14th, local time, by President Donald Trump, imposing a 25% tariff on semiconductors that are imported into the U.S. and then re-exported to other countries.
That's right. So even though this doesn't directly target Korean exports, at least right now, it has raised alarms, right?
Exactly. The concern in Seoul is less about the immediate impact and more about what this signals going forward. Once semiconductors are explicitly included in U.S. trade measures, there is a strong possibility that the scope could widen through follow-up actions or revised implementation rules.
Yes, indeed. And 청와대 emphasized a specific principle in its response, right?
Yes, the presidential office said Korea will work with the U.S. so that any impact on Korean companies is minimized based on the principle of non-discriminatory treatment. Officials pointed to last year's Korea-U.S. tariff negotiations, where both sides released a joint fact sheet clearly stating that the Korean semiconductor sector would receive conditions no less favorable than those applied to other major economies.
Right, and so some might say, this sounds like an existing agreement already rather than like a new demand.
That's correct. The government's position is that this principle is already part of a bilateral understanding. What has changed is the policy environment in Washington, which now puts pressure on how that commitment is applied in practice.
I see. Well, Taiwan is repeatedly mentioned as a key comparison point. So why?
So because Taiwan is Korea's closest competitor in the global semiconductor supply chain.
Yes.
청와대 said it will closely analyze the recently concluded U.S.-Taiwan semiconductor agreement with a clear goal of ensuring Korean firms are not placed at a disadvantage relative to Taiwanese companies.
Right. And by the way, this isn't just about finished chips, right?
No, semiconductor supply chains are highly fragmented. A chip can be designed, manufactured, packaged and shipped across several countries.
Right.
If tariffs are applied at certain re-export stages, companies could face indirect costs even if they do not sell finished products directly into the U.S. market.
So that's a conundrum. How's the government preparing for this complexity?
청와대 said it will soon receive detailed briefings from the Ministry of Trade, Industry and Energy and other relevant ministries. At the same time, the government plans to gather opinions directly from semiconductor companies to identify where tariff exposure could arise along their supply chains.
I see. Well, what's the assessment from the Trade Ministry thus far?
So, Trade Minister Yohan-gu said the current U.S. measure is narrowly focused on advanced logic chips produced by U.S. firms such as NVIDIA and AMD.
Okay.
Korean companies mainly export memory chips, which are excluded at this stage, so the immediate impact on Korea is expected to be limited.
But I hear he also issued a caution.
Yes, he stressed that this is not a point where Korea can relax. It remains unclear whether a second phase of U.S. measures will be introduced, when that might happen and how broadly it would apply. Because of that uncertainty, the government is treating this as an ongoing negotiation process rather than a one-off policy event.
Right, so if we had to summarize Korea's position right now,
it's a defensive but proactive stance. Rather than reacting after trade conditions change, the Korean government is trying to lock in equal treatment early, coordinate closely with industry, and maintain continuous dialogue with Washington as U.S. semiconductor policy continues to evolve.
That's right. So we'll, of course, keep an eye on this story. And now we're going to turn our attention to currency risk. The IMF has flagged Korea as structurally vulnerable. What is this about?
So yesterday, on January 18th, the International Monetary Fund, IMF, drew attention to Korea's relatively high exposure to dollar-dominated assets compared with the size of its foreign exchange market. The assessment comes from the IMF's Global Financial Stability Report, which looks beyond short-term exchange rate moves and focuses on how much shock a country's foreign exchange market can realistically absorb.
So this isn't just about today's $1 rate.
Exactly. The IMF is highlighting a structural issue. Korea holds a large volume of dollar assets through institutions, companies, and investors that are not fully hedged against currency movements. When the won weakens sharply or global uncertainty rises, the exposure can quickly translate into volatility.
Okay, now that we have a better understanding, how does the IMF measure this risk?
So it uses a ratio comparing a country's monthly foreign exchange market trading volume with the size of its unhedged dollar assets. In simple terms, it asks, if many market participants try to hedge currency risk at the same time, does the foreign exchange market have enough depth to handle it smoothly?
Oh, that's a big question. And where does Korea stand on that scale?
So Korea's ratio is estimated at around 25 times. That means the value of dollar assets exposed to currency risk is roughly 25 times larger than the monthly trading volume of the foreign exchange market.
having said that, what about compared to other countries?
So among major economies, Korea is grouped with countries like Canada and Norway, which also hold substantial overseas dollar assets. Taiwan stands out with the highest ratio, around 45 times, largely because of its foreign exchange market is relatively small compared to its overseas investments. By contrast, Japan holds the largest dollar assets in absolute terms, but it's much deeper foreign exchange market keeps its ratio below 20. Major European economies, including Germany, France, and Italy, are mostly in the single-digit range.
Oh, once again, Korea at 25? So why does the IMF see this as a concern specifically for countries like Korea?
Because Korea is not a reserve currency economy. In non-reserve currency countries, large and sudden currency hedging flows are harder to absorb, especially during periods of global stress when investors tend to move in the same direction at once.
Right. And the IMF also mentioned something called a rush to hedge.
Yes, that's a scenario where many investors try to hedge dollar exposure simultaneously. If that happens, forward dollar selling can surge, amplifying exchange rate swings rather than stabilizing them. The IMF warned that this risk is higher in countries where dollar exposure is large relative to foreign exchange market depth, which includes Korea.
I see. Well, are policymakers responding to this warning?
Oh, they are. Korea's National Pension Service has begun implementing strategic currency hedging to reduce exposure. At the policy level, the government has also introduced measures aimed at stabilizing capital flows, including tax incentives designed to encourage long-term investment back into domestic markets.
Right. But I'm thinking this also affects individual investors, no?
It does. Many individual investors, often referred to as retail overseas investors, hold foreign stocks without currency hedging. The government has announced plans to introduce forward exchange products for individuals through securities firms, allowing them to manage currency risk more actively.
Yes, and that has implications for the broader market too.
Yes, if individuals hedge by selling dollars forward, banks must offset those positions by selling dollars in the spot market. That increases dollar supply, which can help ease pressure on the exchange rate while also improving overall risk management.
Yes. So the IMF's message is essentially a warning shot.
That's a good way to put it. The report doesn't suggest an immediate crisis, but it does underline that Korea's exposure makes it more sensitive to global financial shocks, and that managing currency risk proactively is becoming increasingly important.
I see. So thanks for breaking that down for people who have not been in the know. But our final story today shifts from trade and finance to technology, and it highlights an unusual split inside the United States. And this is all about AI regulation. Yes.
So according to a yesterday, January 18th report by Yomiuri Shimbun, 48 of the 50 U.S. states already regulate the use or development of artificial intelligence through state-level laws. Only Alaska and Ohio currently have no such legislation in place.
Right, and that's pretty important, especially given the federal government's position.
It is. President Donald Trump has consistently argued that excessive regulation could show AI innovation and weaken U.S. competitiveness. In December, he signed an executive order aimed at limiting or blocking new AI regulations introduced by state governments.
Right, but states appear to be moving in the opposite direction.
Yes, despite federal caution, state governments have moved ahead rapidly. Since the start of Trump's second term in January last year, 30 states have newly enacted AI-related laws, responding to concerns that AI technologies are already affecting elections, public safety, healthcare, and mental health.
What are states regulating most aggressively right now?
So the most common target is obviously deepfake technology. Many states have introduced laws addressing AI-generated fake images or videos, particularly sexually explicit content. Some states classify the creation or distribution of such material as a criminal offense, reflecting concerns over privacy violations and digital sexual exploitation.
That's right. But other forms of AI are also under scrutiny.
Yes, 6 states regulate AI-powered chatbots. California stands out here. It requires platform operators to take appropriate action if users mention suicide or self-harm during interactions with AI systems.
I see.
This effectively places part of the responsibility for user safety on AI service providers.
But there's also regulation in sensitive sectors too.
Correct. 10 states regulate the use of AI in healthcare, focusing on transparency and accountability in diagnosis or treatment support systems. Another 13 states have laws governing how public institutions can use AI, covering areas such as administrative decision-making and automated surveillance tools.
So what does this fragmented approach mean in reality, in practice?
It means companies operating across the U.S. face a patchwork of rules rather than a single national standard.
I see.
For global tech terms, including Korean companies offering AI services in the U.S., compliance now depends on heavily on where their services are offered and which state laws apply.
So that's also kind of a headache. And I'm thinking also like politically, it sends an interesting signal too.
It really does. While the federal government emphasizes innovation and restraint, state governments are responding directly to social risks they see emerging in real time.
Sure.
The result is a regulatory landscape that continue to evolve from the bottom up, regardless of federal hesitation.
And so AI governance in the U.S. is far from settled.
Exactly. What we're seeing is not a pause in regulation, but a decentralization of it.
Okay.
With states shaping AI rules first and federal policy still trying to catch up.
Yes, indeed. So today we covered a gambit of issues. We looked at tariffs and currency exposure and AI regulation, all shaped by decisions beyond Korea's borders today, right?
Yes, and together they highlight a shared challenge, managing external risk in an era where policy shifts can be sudden and interconnected.
Well, thank you so much for coming in today and covering all the pertinent news. And of course, we will check in with you next week. Thank you, Claire.
I'll see you next week. Bye.
All right. So can you believe we are on the 9th day of the first month of this year already? I think Jian was saying off air, like we are 5% into the new year already. It's going by real quickly. So I certainly hope that whatever you have planned for this year, for this month, that you are well into your plans. And I do want to give a shout out to one of our waivers not feeling so well right now, Michael, saying that apparently he had a fever that went up to 39.3 degrees. That's awfully high. And he says he's feeling well enough to actually make it into work, but I do hope that that you're feeling much better. And for all the waivers out there who are battling colds or other illnesses, hoping you get well soon. We're going to call it a day for this Monday. This is 2002 by Anne Marie. Enjoy. Have a beautiful Monday. Bye, everybody.
I will always remember the day you kissed my lips, light as a feather. And it went just like this. No, it's never been better than the summer of 2002. We were only 11, but acting like grown-ups, like we are in the present. Drinking from plastic cups, singing love is forever and never. Well, I guess that was true. Dancing on the hood in the middle of the woods of an old Mustang, where we sang songs with all our childhood friends. And it went like this, say, oops, I got 99 problems singing bye, bye, bye. Hold up, if you wanna go and take a ride with me, better hit me, baby, one more time. Paint a picture for you and me on the days when we were young, singing at the top of both our lungs. Now we're under the covers. Fast forward to 18, we are more than lovers. Yeah, we are all we need when we're holding each other. I'm taken back to 2002. Yeah, dancing on the hood in the middle of the woods of an old it went like this. Say, oops, I got 99 problems singing bye, bye, bye. Hold up, if you wanna go and take a ride with me, better hit me, baby, one more time. Paint a picture for you and me on the days when we were young. Singing off the top of both our lungs on the day we fell in love. On the day we fell in love. Dancing on a hood in the middle of the woods of an old Mustang, where we sang songs with all our childhood friends. Oh, now, whoops, I got 99 problems singing bye, bye, bye. Hold up, if you wanna go and take a ride with me, better hit me, baby, one more time.